For that, I'm here as a co-founder of a company by the name of Brain Sentinel, and that has been investing in trying to bring better detection systems for patients so that patients can be heard in the clinic.
Oh, very good.
So the study that I'm presenting on Monday is the result of a prospective pivotal study that was double-blinded, performed in 11 EMU centers across the country. And what we are trying to do with this study is to test the sensitivity and specificity of a device that is recording surface EMG in the biceps of patients with history of generalized tonic-clonic seizure, and comparing that information with the data of the gold standard, which is, as you know, epilepsy monitoring with video EEG monitoring.
Very good. So an important study. And we've had a chance to chat a little bit about this, and you told me a bit of the results, which I think are very impressive.
Well, yes.
Yeah, certainly.
You can get better than 100%.
I would have to agree. So let's just to put this a little bit into context of the importance of this kind of, just in general, to know about this, and something that you know well, and you can fill in some of the details. But one of the real problems we have with epilepsy is, you even look at reviews of video EEG studies, about half of the time people don't remember their seizures.
Oh, definitely.
There's this whole issue of knowing about seizures and detecting them, and just from a historical sake.
Yes.
And then there's all the safety issues that surround this. So maybe frame us a little bit of the clinical idea, the importance of this, of detection, and both for safety and for treatment.
So one of the benefits of the way we went about to design this device is that we wanted not only something that alerts. We need something that alerts caregivers. In our case, is connected via Wi-Fi. So, for example, in this convention center, you could be anywhere in the convention center, and it will be immediately alerting the Wi-Fi. It will be calling 911 or your health caregiver to come and give you some help in and perhaps if you are in reduce the chances of accidental problems, and perhaps deliver some treatments. As we know, we have abortive treatments for the treatment of seizures, acute seizures. But the other aspect that happens is, in our study prospectively, we were looking at patients with history of spells, and our alarm went off with generalized tonic-clonic seizures. We had some cases in this study, double-blinded, that were non-epileptic seizures, and the alarm did not go off. Now, one of the benefits of our device is that it's not only alerting, but it's creating a repository of EMG data, surface EMG data from the biceps. So the neurologist can be reviewing that information when you are in clinic, and the patient may be, or the mother may be coming and telling you, yesterday or last week on Monday, I had a seizure at 3 p.m. And you can go back to that time and you can see yourself the EMG signature. And this EMG signature may be an epileptic event or a non-epileptic event. It may be that it shows a tonic, increased signal frequency, or a clonic development. So this device has the opportunity of providing objective data to neurologists and epileptologists managing patients. And to me, I believe it is a significant advancement in our practice of epileptology, practice of medicine for patients, because now we can optimize therapy based on objective data, not reported data. So hopefully patients will be heard in the clinic by having objective data.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really important, and the idea of accurate seizure counts, knowing how to treat things, and moving forward. So if we, as you well know, there's a long history of people looking at EMG to try to track seizures. And one of the problems has been that you have maybe a good sensitivity for this, but the specificity is not so great. So, in other words, it may well be that when people are out for a run, and it activates muscles, it gives a signal. The signal goes off 100 times a day, then you spend more time looking at the signal than you actually do to go through the data. So you have a nice algorithm to address that, to really improve the idea that if there is really a seizure, you can analyze the signal from the EMG to make sure that that's really what happened. So,
in our study, just to give you an example, one of the concerns of parents is, their child may be sleeping in the bed and they are in another room. And if you are saying, if the alarm goes off all the time, well, they are going to have a difficult time for sleeping. In our particular study, we had 20 out of 23 nights, it went off one night. So we had one false positive during the sleep every 23 days or 23 nights. Now, in the study, we did have one false positive a day, but it was typically when touching the device, moving the device, and in the commercial form that we are going to have, it has a cancel button, so you can immediately cancel and and even not result in the delay or not alerting even. So we certainly believe that we have a good product. Obviously, it's currently under FDA review, and we are hoping for the best. Our main concern is to improve the patient's lives. And as you know, it's something that we have worked together for many years, helping people with epilepsy.
No doubt. So the background's good, and you've got a nice idea to make this a better more specific tool. So anytime that happens, it's good to test it in more than one center, right? So you've taken the next step, right? And that's one of the issues, one of the things you'll present in the poster.
So the first, we had a publication that was presented in epilepsy earlier this year, and that was from my center, the University of Texas Health Sciences Center in San Antonio, and the multi-center pivotal study that is under FDA review was 11 centers from across the nation. These are places like Cleveland Clinic, NYU, Medical University of South Carolina, Mayo Clinic, Penn. There's a lot of very important leading investigators. We use primarily the consortium of the Epilepsy Consortium, as you know. And so it's a very reputable group of epileptologists. And as I said, we wanted to keep it at the highest level of scientific inquiry by making it double-blinded, so patients or doctors were not knowing when the device was alerting or not, because that's the way the FDA asked us to develop and design the study. So we have been working with the FDA for several months already. Our first submission was in November of 2014. And we have been responding and etc. And we're continuing discussions. So we are looking forward, we are hopeful for an approval or a clearance in the ensuing months, and then marketing.
Well, good. Very good. Well, it sounds a really interesting project. And we'll obviously wish you the best of luck with things. So as you said, we all want, this whole idea of tracking seizures for many reasons, both for therapy, I think, and for safety is a real issue.
Yes, indeed.
So, and kind of when it comes out at the end of the day, how do you see people being involved as far as, is this something where caregivers will be able to be notified of the seizures? Is this something primarily the physicians would have the data?
So the data from the EMG will be available via the cloud into a web portal available for physicians to review during the clinic visit, where they are assessing the outcomes of what happened during that period of time. We anticipate, for example, that patients might be able to wear this device for several weeks, and they are able to see the information and assess. This is the physicians. Now, from this patient standpoint, you are able to customize who gets alerted so that if, for example, it goes to from the device here, it's going to have a visual and auditory alarm, but it also goes to the base station via Wi-Fi, then goes to the cloud, which may go into your phone. And so that's where caregivers might be able to respond. And as you know from treatment of status epilepticus, a very severe situation of convulsive seizures, you know, the earlier you treat a patient, the better response you're going to have. So having an accurate detector that relatively quickly alerts people is of very much of importance, and may provide patients with a little bit more independence to move around. As I said, it's a Wi-Fi, and the range of Wi-Fi is fairly large, particularly in an open space like this. You know, other technologies like Bluetooth are much more contained in terms of how much tether distance you can have from the base station. And so that's partly of the reason why we went with this design of Wi-Fi. And hopefully it's useful for patients.
Sounds like it will be. So, thanks for joining us today. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Excellent.
Yeah, certainly.